Cold, quiet streets in Ottawa this morning, big money still flowing south of the border, and Olympic hockey shaking out in Milan. Later in the brief, the one Ottawa change you'll actually feel week to week: your garbage and recycling pickup schedule. Ottawa starts this Sunday under cloudy skies with a high around -5 degrees Celsius. And if you watched local hockey last night, Ottawa's university team finished the regular season on the wrong end of a shutout. McGill beat Ottawa 4-0 in the finale, with a rookie goalie stopping 34 shots. McGill's win locks up third in the OUA East, while Ottawa finishes fourth, setting the tone for a tighter, more physical playoff road from here. Now, a quick Senators angle from the Olympic tournament. Captain Brady Tkachuk scored his first Olympic goal in his debut game, with an assist from his brother Matthew on the same line. The U.S. opened with a 5-1 win over Latvia, and for Ottawa fans, it's a clean reminder of what Brady looks like when the stage gets bigger. That brings us to the bigger stakes. Turning now to the primary thread, Buy Canadian is surging in the culture, while Canada's biggest pools of money remain deeply invested in the United States. A new look at the Canada Pension Plan shows the fund at a record edge $780.7 billion in assets, with about 47% invested in the U.S. and about 13% invested in Canada. Put another way, roughly $366 billion in U.S. assets, compared with about $98 billion in Canadian assets. Here's the key point. Consumer choices and institutional investing are reacting to the same headlines, but on totally different timelines. The Buy Canadian push has been driven in part by tariff tensions and a desire to keep spending at home, some people cutting back on U.S. goods and even U.S. travel. On the grassroots side, one Ontario father, Chris Agro, has turned it into a daily project, more than 135 straight days, highlighting Canadian-made products on social media, from big brands to small ones, trying to make it easier for shoppers to spot what's local. But pension funds are built for long horizons, and they're structured to diversify. CPP officials say they monitor geopolitical risk, but don't make investment decisions based on short-term political or electoral events. And they're not alone. Collectively, the largest Canadian pension funds, often called the Maple 8, hold about $1 trillion in U.S. assets. The risk here is a growing gap between what Canadians want to do quickly and what Canada's biggest institutions are built to do slowly. So what happens next? It's likely this stays a two-track story. The consumer side can change week to week. What people buy, where they travel, what companies lean into Canadian branding. The pension side changes through long rebalancing cycles, and only if fund managers decide the U.S. risk and return picture has structurally shifted, not just politically heated. And there's a second layer. Ottawa removed the foreign content cap on pension and RRSP investing back in 2005, which helped enable today's level of U.S. exposure. If political pressure rises, that's where a real policy debate could reappear. But there's no clear signal yet that it's imminent. A quick mid-brief check-in, because we'll come back to systems versus daily life again in a moment. In federal Ottawa, food inspection workers staged a dine-out-style protest downtown, displaying recently recalled foods, warning that planned job cuts could weaken surveillance and emergency response. One union says more than 500 positions could be on the chopping block, and another says 1,371 employees have received workforce adjustment notices. Details of the cuts remain limited, and that uncertainty is part of what's driving the anxiety inside the agency. And nationally, the federal public safety minister says the government intends to keep the RCMP in day-to-day policing across the country, while also promising to strengthen its federal crimes work. This is a long-running tension. Multiple reviews have warned the RCMP's broad mandate can stretch resources away from complex investigations, things like foreign interference, organized crime, and terrorism. Now, back to the practical Ottawa change teased at the top. About half of Ottawa households will see curbside pickup days shift starting March 30th, when a new waste collection contract takes effect. The frequencies don't change: weekly green bin and yard waste, alternating weekly recycling and garbage every 2 weeks, but the sequencing will. Why this matters locally: for some homes you could see one stream picked up 2 weeks in a row, while another waits 3 weeks, just because the calendar is being rethreaded. To smooth it out, the city says between March 30th and April 24th, you'll be allowed up to 6 items at the curb on garbage day, double the usual limit. New schedules will be posted online, and mailed notices are expected in late February. Finally, a quick Olympic hockey scan. Canada's women are through to the semifinals after a 5-1 win over Germany. Captain Marie-Philip Poulin returned from a lower body injury, scored, and tied Hayley Wickenheiser's Canadian record for Olympic goals with 18. Canada will face Switzerland next, with the gold medal game set for Thursday. And on the men's side, Team USA stayed unbeaten with a 6-3 comeback win over Denmark, even after early trouble in net. Their final Group C game is today against Germany. The final piece to watch this week is timing. Late February mailers for Ottawa's new pickup days, March 30th for the switch, and on the national file, whether promised RCMP reforms turn into a concrete restructuring plan or stay at the level of intention. That's the brief for Sunday, February 15th.